So again, welcome everybody to part 3, the final part for the Nutcracker. And this is how far we got, and this is where we're going. So we've got to do the legs. We have got to do the boots and the legs. We've also got to do the embroidery, and we have got to do the hair. So and the lapels. So there's a little bit of work to do still, and of course I've got to attach the arms. So I'm going to crack on with it straight away. If you have any questions, then don't hesitate to ask. But there's always support for you, even later on if you're working on your Nutcracker and suddenly something happens and you think, oh, how do I do this? I'm actually matching with him today. So yes, you can always get in touch. We're always happy to help you at any point. So just to reiterate where we got to last time. So we have got ready now. Oh no, what's going on here? Sorry, guys. Sorry. What is going on? Okay, my overhead camera is not working. Nothing's working. Okay. Oh, here we go. Right. I seem to have a problem with my cameras now, which is very annoying. It's the overhead camera that's not playing ball. So just bear with me. I'm just going to switch the overhead camera on and off for a minute and see if it's working again. So should have checked that beforehand. Ah, here we go. Right. Okay, slight delay, but we're in business. Apologies for that. So I've got one arm that's ready to go on and one arm that I just need to attach the hand, and I'm going to do that quickly. So for those who have to do the hand still, you can see it again. So I've just got to round off this side a little bit where the pink wool goes. I've done, this is rock solid felted, the red sausage shape. And now I'm going to overlay it with some pink wool layers, which I've still got left over from my portioning out. And I've got my first hand here. So I can make sure that I'm making an identical second one. Well, it won't be ever totally identical, but I can try to be as close as possible. So felt that down. And I was actually going to talk a little bit about nutcrackers because I looked it up, and they are obviously a very old, well, they used to be a very useful tool in that they were cracking nuts. But they were invented in Germany, and they were actually a good omen in the house. So if you had a nutcracker in the house, it was good. It was like they were protecting your house. Maybe that is why they're soldiers. And now they're more decorative. But a lot of people seem to think that there's a sinister aspect to it, and there really isn't. I don't see them as sinister. I grew up in Germany, so I'm very interested where that sinister part comes from, because it's certainly not something that the Germans, they're quite fond of their nutcrackers, and have them as a decorative item now in their houses. And there's the good thing about nutcrackers is they genuinely come in all kinds of shapes and sizes, and even in different colors. So your nutcracker will look different from mine, and they will look different from each other, and that's exactly what they need to be. So this is my arm. So I need to give that a bit of a pull because it's ever so slightly shorter. Just put the sleeve around it now. So put that in the middle a little bit, and then fold it in, and then put that around the arm like this. And felt that down as well. I don't know if it's me, but it seems to be very warm at the moment. Obviously today is the 31st of October, Halloween night. And yeah, I find it's quite warm for October this year. But I'm sure it's all about to change very soon. And we're also now on we're also now no longer on the British summertime. So that I think everything, we've gained an hour. Doesn't feel like I've gained an hour, but apparently we have. So felt that down. You probably have all of this already ready. If you haven't got it ready, this might be a nice unexpected break to finish off some of the bits that you still have to do, because obviously last time we did all the facial features, and so I have got a slight issue here in that my one arm is slightly shorter than the other, but you can extend things quite easily. So I'm going to just use a little bit more red and wind it around the back and felt it down quite loosely onto the back, and then hopefully extend my arm by that measurement. I can also give it a big pull in a minute again, because that will help too. So I'm not felting the back down at the moment, because that is where I need to extend it. Just get the other bits down, and now I'm felting it down. And I'm hoping that that will have been enough, but if not, I'm going to give it a pull. It is very solidly felted, but there should be enough given it to pull it. So again, it just goes to show that you have always got the opportunity to change up some of the shaping and the making that you do out of wool and felting it down. Let's see how that is. Ah, that's almost there. Little pull, and then we are there. Now I'm going to push that sleeve back a bit, and then the hand will also be the same size as the other one. So remember, you're stabbing into the space between the pink and the red to make the sleeve look as if it's over the arm rather than fused to the hand or fused to the arm. And then felt this bit down a little bit more as well. So all of this is a repetition from part 2 at the very end. And now we have 2 arms that are pretty much the same. Good enough, right? So if you remember, I failed to tell you that you needed to leave a little bit of red wool when I made the first arm, but so you will need a little bit of red wool, just because you need to fasten the arm onto the side of the Nutcracker now, and you are actually initially just stabbing into the edge of the arm and straight into the body. So you're doing this all around where the arm, where you imagine that the arm is attached by the shoulder. So I'm just going to do that now. That felted in. Now, if you have one of these felting tools, I've actually earlier bent one of the needles in here because I stabbed it into the top of my fingernail. So I can't use, this is the Clover version, but we have got a comparable non-branded version. And with this one, with these, you can actually take this bit off, because that helps you to go really extra deep. And sometimes you just need that extra long needle to go right in. And with me using 3 needles, obviously that works much faster than using 1. And that is pretty solid now. I'm just going to go into the top as well, a bit more. So you do want the top to be flush with where the red finishes. And that little bit of extra wool is really so that we can fold it over both the arm and the body and get a little bit extra security going. If you felted that down quite well with a long needle into the body and catching the side of the arm, you should actually be all right without having to do the red wool overlay. But if you've got the red, the extra, then then do it, you might as well. And actually, this works really well to reduce yet my size a little bit, because I've got quite a podgy Nutcracker, so I can still work into his body and everything else to reduce the size a little bit more. So I'm going to do the same on the other side now. Just look at him. Oh no. Oh no, put the arm too far back. Okay. Oh, I'm going to take it off, probably. Okay, I'm going to do this one first in the meantime. So make sure you know exactly where the arm is going. Otherwise, they're not in the right position, and your Nutcracker needs to look straight forward. If the arms are not central, if you can see, I've actually put this a little bit too far back, and I'm going to have to pull this off again and put it probably more here. So I'm going to do that again. Again, it can be rectified, but I didn't really want to do that. So make sure the arms are in the right position when you're doing it. But if you've got it wrong, maybe check before you felt them on too much. That looks much better now. And so it felt into the arm and into the body all at the same time. There's still the wispy ends attached to the arm that I put on as an afterthought. So I'm just gonna do this on this side, just a wisp. You're not building bulk. You don't really want that wool to be visible. Just want to felt it on as an extra bit of strength, so that the arm stays attached. Now, in a minute, we're going to felt on the, well, no, we're not doing that yet. We're going to the legs first, but later on, we have to felt the lapel on as well. So that will obviously require a little bit more work on the arm, but other than that, the arms are done. And then later also you put those looped embroidery threads on to the lapels as well for decoration. So here we go. Right, that's the arms are on properly this time, so I'm quite happy with that now. It all looks pretty central. Yeah, that's better. And I have actually just used that 3 needle tool, and it worked really well. So if you have got one of those, then use it. If you have a clover one, this one here, then these two are pretty much the same, to be honest. I mean, they even look the same. It's just not branded. One is and one isn't. If you have one of those, you can't take that bit off to extend, to have the needles long. This was also, I've bent the needles in that one. So this one works perfectly. We have them in 2 color choices. We have them actually in blue and in pink. And you can definitely use that for your work. Okay, it's very tempting to just keep going all over on the shape still. Now that I've got adjusted the top, I want to adjust the base of it. So some of you might have quite a long body still, and it's really important that these wire pieces here, they need to be a certain length, because we don't have much space to play with, much room to play with to attach the legs. And I'm just going to remind you how long they need to be. I just need to remind myself. So once you've got all the shape done, I'm just gonna, it will say it somewhere, just need to find the space. Well, keep your checking against your body template, I suppose, because if you get the black and the red on, so mine are actually exactly right. My body fits that template pretty much exactly. Maybe a little bit, mind you, that hangs over a bit, so I could potentially step in the black a little bit more and expose a bit more wire. So it's not so important if your Nutcracker is tall, not for the sake of him being taller, the reason why it is important to stick to the template is because you've got to attach the boots to the leg, and you don't have much wire to play with. So this is, you need the absolute maximum, whatever you can get out of that wire, to be able to attach the legs onto the boots. So make sure you've got a nice long wire end sticking out, or two even. And if you can, felt these parts down a little bit more. And this needle works quite well because it's quite long, so I can, the handle is quite long, so I can even go in there quite easily. Okay, so that's what I'm leaving it as now. And we're going to now move on to the legs. So you will need some pliers for this part of the project. And you have left, you take the second wire and cut it in half. So it is a 50 centimeter long wire, doesn't even fit on the screen. So I need to cut it into half by measuring 25 centimeters along. Yeah. There. So that's my 2 wire lengths, and they are the same length, which is good. And now you're going to shape them so that so you bend each half of the wire into half, first of all, like that. And then you cross the ends over, and there's also a boot wire template because it's easier to follow the boot wire template, which is here. So we need to make that shape out of the boots. And it needs to cross over at a certain angle as well. So there's my first boot. I'm sure it doesn't matter, just having a little bit of a kink in the wire. There's my first boot, like that. And now I'm going to make the second one from the second wire. So go in like that, and then allow it to cross over like that. So it's not staying in that position at the moment, but it will do in a minute, because when I do the second step, you will see what happens next. So you've got your boot wire template here, and then the instructions tell you to give that, twist the wires that cross each around each other a couple of times, then bend them upwards. So this is really important to use that boot wire template, because I think you will get a much better understanding. So where the wires are meant to cross, which is here, I'm going to hold this now. You need to just give them a twist. Now, if you struggle to do this with your fingers, you can use your pliers. Might even need 2 sets of pliers. And once you've got it twisted, then you're going to twist that part up like that. So you have a boot shape at the moment, just a wire shape. Just checking that against the instructions, like that. Now you're not, you don't need to close the wires totally at the top, but I'm giving them a good twist. So I've got my boot shape here. You can see it better on here. So it looks like that from the side at the moment. And now I've got to repeat this on the other one. And the wire template is actually really essential. Rather than looking at the words, look at the wire template. So where they cross, that is where you twist. Yeah. And then where they cross is also where you bend them up at a right angle, like that. So you should have 2 boot templates. So the next step you're going to do is you're going to use the portion of black wool allocated for one boot in step 7. So if you've got your wool nice in order still, I'm going to head back to step 7. So your black wool was split into 4 parts. One, the first and the second quarter, that was a set aside, and it makes one boot each. And if you're working with quantities, you've got 15 grams, so that's just under 8 grams per portion. So you need just under 8 grams per boot. So take some of that wool off and then begin wrapping it around the boot base. So you're covering the wires, just making sure the boots are the same size. Wrap all of the foot part of the boot. You can secure this a bit by stabbing into a couple of times in the middle where there is no wire. So I'm going to do that now. We'll actually stick with that tool. Ah, that's the bent one. And I've bent it even more now. There. It's quite daring using a 3-needle tool. You could probably better off using your single needle. And cover all of that, including the bent bit at the front. There we are. Right. So that's that part of the boot done. On one, anyway. And then you take a pinch of the same wool and flatten it into a 3 by 10 centimeter shape. So that looks like this, 3 by 10. And then you're going to roll this up starting at the short end to make a sausage shape about 3 centimeters long. So 3 centimeters long. You have used it, and it's the same technique as you did with the nose and the arms. And then you place this shape. Sorry, black on black never looks really great on the camera. You place this shape on top of the boot, and that now makes the bulging boot shape at the top. And felt it down around the edges. If you can still see the difference between the first black and the second black, I'll be absolutely amazed. But that is because black is never great for that kind of camera or photography. And then you take more of the same wool and you wrap it around the boot, trapping the new shape inside the wire. So you're making it into one, basically. And felt it down. If at the end you've got some black wool left over, once you've done both boots, you can repeat this process and building up a little bit more of the boot shape if you like it to be a bit more rounder and more bulging. But keep it maybe just wait until you know that you've got extra black left. And also you might have felted it down a lot firmer. So be careful not to hit the wire because it's very close to your shape here at the moment. And the base needs to be really flat because the Nutcracker does actually stand flat. So make sure you don't have it bulging at the base. And felt it down a little bit more. And then you take the final wisp of your portion and wrap this around the ankle to build up the shaft of the boot. So Go around this and build up shaft here. And then you felt that down too. So we will build more of the boot up once they are attached in a minute anyway. But don't worry about it not being the exact right shape. Just cover the wire up, but keep the end of the wire sticking out, because we do need that end of the wire to attach to the wire coming out of the Nutcracker. This can be quite a fiddly process, but I've given you lots and lots of extra help of what you could use to make this easier. So we'll cross that bridge in a minute, because for now I've got to make a second boot. So this is the first boot, and now I've got to make a second one. I do want to felt this down a lot neater, but it's not going to happen now, because we will need to get through the whole last bits of the Nutcracker. So where's my second boot gone? So second time round, take a strand of wool and wrap this around the wire. So you cover the loop with wool. That's it. And then felt it down. Like that. And then you're going to tease off a bit of wool, and you're going to make a 3 by 10 centimeter sheet. Now, if you want to have the two boots, if you don't trust yourself and you want them to be exactly the same, it's always good practice to actually separate the wool out for both parts straight away, so that you don't suddenly, by the second time you come round to it, you don't know whether you have got enough or haven't got enough. And then felt this sausage shape onto the top of the boot to create sort of the bulging bit, the toe box. Big feet, but they need to be big so that you can actually stand on it. And then you're going to take another strand of the black wool, and you're going to wrap that around all of the shape again, so that you integrate the added shape now into the whole of the boot. Make sure you wrap this nice and flat, so it's more like you're winding the wool flat around it, rather than just like you would wind up a ball of wool. That's not how you do it. You wind it flat like a ribbon. Out into the base of the boot. And make sure you spend time doing this. So just because I can do this fast doesn't mean to say that I couldn't do this slow and a lot more neater and thorough. So you've got the luxury to really take the time and do this in your own time. So if you're rewatching this or again and again, just put me on pause and catch up until you can literally, we can do it together again. So then this is a repeat of the first boot. So I'm going to put the wool around the shaft to build up the ankle. And we're going to felt that down a little bit, but we're going to do more work on that part in a minute. We just need to have that wire ready to attach to the boot. So felt that down. Mind the wire inside. And I've still got quite a lot of black wool left. So there is definitely a scope to make the boot a lot more bulky, but we also need to use some more black to make that boot shaft a lot more prominent and build it up, because we need to embroider some shoelaces on there as well. So I've got two boots here. You'll find that You'll probably find that one looks slightly different to the other, but I tried my best to avoid that. Here we go. 2 boots, okay? So now I'm going to take my Nutcracker and I'm going to fit them on there now. So you will have to twist the top of the boot wires around the leg wires. This can be quite fiddly. Use pliers to twist the wires rather than your fingers. So basically, this needs to be attached here. Now, I haven't done this myself before, so I'm just wondering how would I do this. Now, you see, I think I would just probably give this little leg a tiny little loop like that. And then I would probably try and trap. You're not meant to do this. So maybe I shouldn't. Okay, I'm not going to do this because Colette says you have to twist it. Twist it around each other, but use use pliers rather than your fingers. And I can see why she says it's fiddly. Definitely is fiddly. I'm going to go back to the little hook plan. Because if you manage to get a little hook going here, and you manage to get a little hook going there, you can literally hook them into each other and then squish it shut. That's what I'm doing. So I've hooked these and I've hooked these, and now I'm going to squish these shut. And what we're going to do is we're going to add wool around this, obviously, but we're also going to add I'm also going to add washi tape around it, because that will be a good base to fasten everything on. So they're hooked in each other, so they can't go anywhere. I'll close that up. Just need to close the leg wire up a bit more because I kept that extra short. Right, the leg's on, or the feet are on. It's not it's solidly shut, and I'm actually going to secure this with a little bit of tape, and that is what we've suggested in the instructions. So I'm going to use a little bit, and that can stay on, a little bit of washi tape. You can use masking tape, florist tape, anything you like. Just get the that joint covered up so that it doesn't it doesn't move. And when the wool goes on, that's when we have more chance of getting this sorted. So I'm going slightly off piste here. Sorry, Colette, but I cannot twist that wire. I'm just making a little loop here at the end of the Nutcracker like that. But I need it to be a little bit closed up, because I've got to get the leg wire in there and then trap it. There. And then I'm going to do the same here with these. Bend them in. I hope I'm not losing length of the leg, but I genuinely can't do it. Okay, got hooks going here, hooking them in now. Needs to be closer together. So for those of you who've attached the legs first, would be really interested to find out how that works, whether that has been a success or not. Now I'm gonna close these. It doesn't matter if the foot's pointing the wrong way at the moment, because to be honest, you can easily twist that. That is Have I closed that yet? No, not yet, but nearly. Right, that one's trapped. They're all trapped. I pointed the right way. And I'm going to put some tape around that as well. Another use for washi tape, yay. Okay. So just so that it stays in the right position, because the next step will ensure that the feet are going to be solidly in the right position now. Well, he's got them on. I'll just show you in the large camera. There you go. They're on. And they are the same length as well. So I'm going to, when the wool is on, then you can manipulate it. So I'd be interested to see how you are getting on with that. But I'm going to go straight on to the next step now, because the white wool is what needs to happen next. So if you're doing this and you haven't started at all yet, you can attach the legs beforehand, and then you have a little bit more, I suppose you have more wire this way, so you don't have to work with that short distance. You still have not very much wire to play with, because you still need to get keep the length of the legs going. But yet, if that is another option of you doing this. Now I'm going to add a little bit of glue onto the area that I'm going to start wrapping with white, just to make sure that this is a nice solid base. So I've taken the pure white that is in the box, and I'm really making sure that I'm wrapping that really nice and tight around that area of the leg, because now you've got to build up the layers around the leg, and the joint around the joint where the foot attaches to the leg obviously is extremely important. Okay, so wrapping that going down. It feels quite solid what I've done here. So if you can manage to put loops on it rather than twisting the wire, if you can twist it, then that's fine too. But I found doing the loops much easier. But everybody might have a different preference. Now, important is that when you wrap the wool around the leg, that you go in the same direction when you add another layer on top. So make sure that you do that. And also remember the shaft of the boot will be coming up that white leg still a little bit more. So I'm just wrapping it all the way up, and then I've got to now, I'm going to stay up there because I want to felt that white wool into the base, not to cover the black, but to, where's my needle gone? Use this again. But just to tuck the wool away so that it's another way to secure it. Oh, excuse me. Okay. And the legs need to be felted down well as well, but I'm just getting rid of the wool now. So, and you can actually manipulate the joint quite nicely as well. So felt the white wool down on the leg as well. And then felt into, what I find the easiest is to felt along the wire. That gives you a chance to make quite a neat leg cover as well. And I'm going to put another layer of white on there. This isn't the final layer yet, but I'm just getting it felted down enough so that I can add another one. Get all the loose wool felt it down. I might catch up with a second leg to make sure that that joint is supported. And build the legs up one at a time, and then change over to the other and catch up with it as well. So, right, I'm going to do this side now. And I feel happier that it's got a layer on. Right, bit of glue, cover that well. That's where I'm starting with my white strand of wool. And going between the legs there. And pull it nice and tight. So you really want to get that joint covered with white wool and make that a really tight connection. You can manipulate the foot and bend it into the right shape in a minute. Okay, I didn't get enough wool there. So always start out again the way that the layer was underneath. Go all the way to the top. It's definitely worth pulling that wool nice and tight every time you make a wrap, so that it's a really firm cover, firm layers. Put that down. I'll build that up straight away a little bit more without felting into it. There isn't enough on there yet to felt into the wool. Okay, another layer. And this is obviously not the tops. The tops will be for the hair. I've said that several times beforehand. So hopefully you've put the tops away. This is still a bat. It's also an Australian merino, but it is worked into a bat, and it felts down beautifully into a smooth surface. So don't get tempted to use the tops. The tops are for the hair and for his beard. Yeah, so his feet are definitely held in position, and that's not even the final layers yet. So I'm going to add more layers of white onto there. Get it. They need to be really even. So make sure you've got them. They're not suddenly. They need to be really very much the same. So I'm bending his leg out of the way because it's actually quite hard to go round with the legs so close together, but you can bend them back together again. And also white fluff gets on his red coat now, which is annoying me. Okay. Bend that down now. A little bit better. It will take quite a bit of stabbing. And you can use all of the white wool. I don't think we need it for anything else after this, because we literally just have to add the lapels and the hair and the embroidery. So you can use all of the white wool, and you do want to felt it down really neat and so that it's absolutely rock solid, because that's where the join is, and between the leg and the foot. And so it needs to be nice and firmly felted. And the legs should you shouldn't have a thigh gap. They will be close together. Once you've covered enough wool, that should take care of that. So I'm going to give them the second leg a cover now, but I will bend them apart so I can get to it a bit easier. Bend that down, feels loose. Definitely need to build up a bit more on the upper leg. I think the legs are definitely long enough. So to be perfectly honest, I probably could have used a bit more wire to tie the two together. So maybe it would have worked with twisting the wire around each other. Take your time with this step and ask if you're finding this hard. Not everybody has got that strength in your hands. If you know somebody who can help you with this, don't struggle on your own. Ask somebody to help you. It's not worth getting completely frustrated by this, because it is a fiddly part of the Nutcracker. You do need quite a lot of strength in your hands, and if you've got somebody who can help you, do ask them. I would definitely. Don't struggle on your own. mine he's got quite long legs mine now, because I was so worried of losing wire that I actually did quite a good job there, keeping my legs long. Right, that's my last bit of white. So my legs are a little bit thinner because of the actually I'm not going to put that on there because he needs it up on the upper part of the leg. And then I'm going to give him big chunky boot shafts, so that will even out the spindly legs. If your Nutcracker has got slightly shorter legs, then you will also be able to make slightly thicker legs. But yeah, no, I've definitely got no more white left. I'm just going to have to felt this down really well now to get it into the right shape, and then add the boots to it. So I'm going along the wire into the leg rather than straight in, because I've got more control of shaping the legs that way. I want to add the black to see what that looks like now. So take a bit of black. I'm going to build the boot shafts now. So this is a little bit like when you did the hands. You will need to make sure that you've got the leg sitting inside the boot rather than the boot melting into the leg. So I'm going to make that edge clear here already, stabbing that down. So I think what I can do is I can build up that leg a lot more. Sorry, I mean the foot. I can build up the foot a lot more to even out the longer legs, having longer legs, and maybe then it's meant to be. And therefore I've got quite a bit of black left. I just need to leave enough for the lapel. That's all I need the wool for. And that's it really. Got an awful lot of blue left. Could give him blue legs. That'd be all right. Like I say, they come in all different colors. They don't have to have white legs. If you want to build the legs up and you've got you need more wool, then maybe give him blue legs. And I'm going to now build that part of the shoe a bit more as well, of the boot. There. So the legs is definitely the trickiest part, I want to say. The legs and the boots of this project. But that's good because we all need some challenges and learn from it. Make sure that when you make his foot that you have this dead on at a right angle. Otherwise he will roll off his foot and then he won't stand. So the test will be, is he standing? But I can definitely build up that foot a lot more still. I've got quite a bit of black left. But that looks already better, having a slightly bigger leg here now. And I'm going down to a medium needle. Just out of interest, what does a blue leg look like? I think a blue leg would look quite fun as well. If you gave him a blue leg, I think that would be okay. So if you want to do that because you haven't got enough white, because your legs are slightly longer, like I have done my legs a little bit longer, then you can do that. Just use the blue and cover over the white. Definitely possible. I have to just get this boot the same now as the other one. Get that neat edge so that the boot is looks like it's on the outside of the leg rather than the leg is on the outside of the boot. And then shape the foot, bend it into the right shape. You've got wire in there, so you can bend it to how it needs to be. Because a lot of the shaping of the Nutcracker is not so much about how you felt it; it's more about how you shape the legs and the feet with using the wire that you've got in there. So if at the moment he looks like he's completely cross-legged, so just make sure you bend the foot so that it's at a complete right angle, even a little bit over the top. And I need to just put a little bit more on here. But the test is really, does he stand on his own? Yay, almost. Right, I'm going to just finish this part off, and then we can move on to the next thing, which I think is the lapels. Okay, and I wonder if you've got a nice place for your Nutcracker, or are you going to keep him even, or is he going to be a gift to somebody? But I think I'm definitely going to put mine out as Christmas decoration, maybe on the sideboard, or maybe with a candle. Oh, I can't wait for smells of Christmas. I love smells of Christmas. I've got a couple of candles for my birthday, and they smell really nice. I can't wait to be done with all the shows so that I can relax into the festive season myself. And I'm absolutely adamant that this year we will have a lovely Christmas. We've had too many that were all kinds of things have got in the way. So I'm absolutely adamant it's going to be a good Christmas. So my Nutcracker has actually got really long legs. I quite like them, a bit spindly and long. And the feet are now evened out. I mean, to be perfectly honest, you could felt the feet together slightly. As a soldier, he should sort of stand maybe slightly with his feet out like that. And I'm just going to test. So you could felt him together at the back where the boots are, but don't do that just yet because you've got to do embroidery still. So let's just see if he's, I'm just going to turn the camera around and see if he's actually wanting to stand, and you can see him from that direction as well. Right, there he is. Let's see if he's standing. It's probably not the best surface on a felting mat because it's also a little bit lumpy and bumpy. But I think he is able to stand. Just need to tweak him a little bit. Come on, don't let me down now. Yeah, he's standing. Yes. Hey, right. So this is what he looks like in all of this manhandling. I've actually pulled his arm off. So I've got to just put that back on again for a minute. And I'm going to make the lapels next. So just get that arm fastened on a bit again. And then make the lapels. So funny how when you work on one part of your Nutcracker, another part will get slightly put out of shape or disjointed, or yeah, so you're forever going back and forth. But anyway, this is him now with as he stands, literally, and the legs are solid. There's no, I can't feel them moving, so they're good. They're definitely good. And I will show you how to do the lapels next, where you need a little bit of the black wool. So let's do that. Do that next. So according to the instructions, you needle felt 2 thick disc shapes of about 2 centimeters. Now for this, I will definitely say take the same wool portion and put it to one side now. And just to show you, I have still got all this black left. So I can still work, there's more. I can still work on the boots. I can build them up a lot more because the boots are quite important for him to stand, as long as you cover it over the top rather than underneath it. But I'm going to now shape these, and you can actually use your fingers. You don't, there's many ways of how to make a disc shape. You can, I show you this one. They will turn out to be exactly the same. You can actually shape it already with your fingers a little bit. Felt into it. So you've got the main shape, and then continue felting the edges and the wispy bits down. Felt it from the other side and just keep working on it. Now this is quite a thick disc, which is what we want, because it needs to go onto his shoulder. They're like shoulder pads. And if you've got an edging tool, it will come very handy with this as well to make the edges nice and round. So it's here. I put a bit of washi tape on there because that keeps my 2 pieces together, and also I can see them better now because they're so see-through that you literally can't see where they are. You don't need this tool, but it's a nice to have. Work my way around it. And neaten up the edges. So where all the wispy bits are. That's going to be nice and solid now. Just a full circle. And even felt it a little bit more on its own on both sides. Nice little disc there. And then you repeat that with the other one. Now you can also make it like this, where you needle felt a rough circle of about 2 centimeters in diameter, and then you fold the wool inside that circle. That also makes a disc. So one you manipulate with your fingers first, and one you draw the circle, tease it off, work it from the other side, and obviously reduce the size by stabbing into the edge as well. Make that smaller. I don't know what works better. It's personal preference, whatever you prefer. And I'm gonna go over this with the edging tool as well to shrink it down a little bit and make it neater. And there. Build into the edges. I'm actually using my medium needle. You could use your coarse needle. It's very satisfying to see the wool shrink away in front of your eyes when you stab into the shape inside that edging tool. And if you're a perfectionist, you could do this all day. Okay, so stop this all over a little bit more. And now ready to attach it to him. So goes on top of the arm here. So we want to stab straight into it to attach it. Needs to sit right on top of the arm like a shoulder pad. Let's make sure that the arm looked a bit wispy there. Sorry, I'm working on the arm again now. So it sits right on top of his arm, so you can go straight into it. And I'm going to do the other one. Now, what I'm going to do is, because on the instructions, you start with the embroidery by doing the surround of the coat. But I want to show you how to attach the hair, which I understand fully why you don't want to attach the beard yet and the hair, because you need to do the embroidery details. But I want to show you that part, so that at least you know how to do it. And I will show you how to put the loop stitch onto the lapel, because then you can definitely do the hair. The beard potentially sits quite close onto his embroidered front, so you might not want to do the beard just yet, but I will show you how to do it. And the hair one can only get into a bit of a tiff with the lapels. Once the hair and the beard is on, you've got to be really careful not to mess with it. So maybe don't trim it yet, keep it long, and then you can neaten it out. And of course, now I'm going on to something completely different, because that you just can't help it with needle felting. You just always look for somewhere else where you need to adjust the shape a little bit. It's just one of those things. It's cursed. It's cursed. Okay, so you have 2 whole skeins of this gold thread, or orange thread, whatever you want to call it. And in the instructions, it tells you what kind of stitch you're making. So, for example, here, this is where I'm jumping to, is the loop stitch. It's step 89. And it also tells you, I think we're using, are we using? Yeah, I think we are using the, it usually tells you how many strands we're using, but I think we're using all of it. I just can't remember. You have for now finished the needle felting. The beard and hair will be attached once the embroidered details are complete. That is the theory. Take your embroidery needle and 120 centimeter of gold thread and thread your needle. Now, 120 centimeters is an awful lot. So you don't, if you are not familiar with embroidery, you can use a shorter strand and attach, when you run out, attach new. So it is 6-stranded, and I'm jumping to the step 89. So I'm going to cut my thread, and I have got some needles here. So, I'll put them on my magnetic case. Let's see. I think I can fit it into the slightly thinner needle. there. So you want to knot your strand. I mean, this is definitely not 120 centimeters. I want to say this is probably just maybe 80 centimeters. So put a knot on your strand like that. And then for this part, you will have to go from the underneath. So go in from the underneath and make sure that that thread is tucked away. I mean, you can actually have the tail much shorter. So cut it a little bit shorter where the knot is. Yeah. You can also needle felt it in. So that's something that you can do with all of your beginnings of the thread. Just make them disappear by needle felting it. And now you're going in a loop. So you're going from the underneath again, and you've got a loop here like that. And that is the loop that we want hanging down. But if you now just loop, 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 you can potentially, you get, you can pull them by accident. So what you want to do is you want to just put another stitch in from the top, so that you're now putting a tiny stitch in there. And now when you loop next, going around, it stops it from pulling. So you've got your second loop here now. So the first loop is now not going to get pulled. That's what I'm trying to say. So you go in through the bottom and out at the top, and then you loop around to make the second loop. Pull it as long as the others. So make sure that they're sort of roughly the same length. And then you make an extra little stitch that you pull. Oh no, I've gone the wrong way. You make an extra little stitch that you make an invisible stitch. And that is the stitch that stops your loops from being pulled. So, just write that again. Oh, my eyes don't work anymore at this time of the evening, even with glasses. I think they need to just be closed, my eyes. Can nearly be closed. Oh, can't even get that in there anymore now. Might have to go to the bigger needle. No, it's not happening. Okay, bigger needle, here it comes. Yeah. So go in just to make an extra little stitch there, and then you're going to do the next loop. So that's a loop now. Make sure they're the same length there. Then you go in just as a separate stitch. And I've pulled my thread out of my needle again. And now you're making a loop. Don't worry if that lapel comes a little bit loose, because you can felt it on again. So just make sure that these loops, they're the same length. Now make another little stitch, just a little extra one, so the loops don't get pulled. Oh, that one did a bit. Let's make that a bit bigger again. And then you make another loop. So this is what you're going to do all the way around the lapel. And once they're all on there, you can sort of neaten them out a bit and let them hang down. In fact, Colette, you did this going underneath, which, yeah, so Colette stitches come more from the underneath rather than from the top. So I don't think there is a right or wrong. If this is bothering you, you could felt a little bit of black over the top So Colette's going more into the black only, and also only into the side of the black, so that the stitches are, the lapels are hanging more down from the base of the, the loops are hanging down from the base of the lapel rather from the top, as I've done here. So they're more hidden underneath it, and then they hang down more. So that is probably a better way of doing it. I didn't pay terribly much attention then. So stay underneath that lapel if you can. Show you how it looks different in a minute. Extra little stitch. Still do all the stitches is still exactly the same. Then a little loop. Is my loop gone? Hold it too much. Huh? So these are coming more from underneath. Oh, pull that then. And this is the extra stitch. And then you do another one, which is going to be the loop. There. So this is the difference. These are coming from the top and these are coming from underneath. And I think I prefer the ones from the underneath. So try not to go all the way over the top, but try and keep the thread tucked away underneath. All right, this one is a non-loop. Which one is it? That one. That one. This one is a non-loop. And then this is a loop. And then this one is a non-loop. So as I'm doing this, I can feel that the actual lapel is becoming quite loose. So you can needle felt that on again. I mean, to be perfectly honest, you could also just do the stitching on the disc and then felt it on afterwards. Could do that too. So I'm just going to do a couple more and be done with this, because I also want to show you if you've got black left over, you can also just cover up the top again. So my 80 centimeter of thread is probably just about long enough to do one whole lapel and cover it with loop stitches. So this is now, I want to secure my thread now, and I've manipulated it so much that it's actually coming loose, and that's okay, because we can needle felt it on again and add a bit of black on the top so that the stitches are covered. All right, let's assess the situation. Okay, here we go. That's my there's actually, you could just do this without it being on the Nutcracker, and to cover that up, so where I've gone on top, just add a little bit of black wool over the top, felt it down, and then it looks like these loops are definitely coming more from the actual lapel underneath it, rather than from the top. Just felt it down. Easy peasy. I love it about needle felting, how easy you can adjust things. Nothing's ever really unfixable. So this is what it looks like, and then you're just gonna felt it back onto him, and then it looks like it was always meant to be there, straight into him. Nice and neat. And you've got that one done. So what I would do with the second one, I'd take it off and add the loops separately. There. Take that off and redo that. So that is basically how you are doing the loops on the lapels. Now you've got several stitches. Where are we time-wise? So this tutorial has been, well, we've still got a little bit of time. So I'm going to show you some of the other stitches. Let's have a look. The chain stitch. Okay, let's just do the chain stitch. Take some wool, not wool, some of the thread. Oh. And you're starting this at his coat tails. So thread your needle and secure here at the end. I'm actually going to move this mat now because this orange on orange is too much orange. I'm just going to use that. That's less distracting with the background. So not on there. And then you're going into the corner here. So I would tuck it away as best as you can. Here. A bit of the little tail. Like I said, you can needle felt that in as well. So tuck it away, felt straight into it. And then you're going to go, you know, when you start a stitch, it's always really hard to start a stitch. You're going back on yourself like that and out like this. There. And then you're pulling this, but you want to go through there because you want to make that little, that you want to pull that loop. So back on yourself through there. And then you want to go and catch that loop to go through. Try not to do what I've just done, where I've twisted it. So I'm going to go reverse my step here and make sure my stitch is straight. And that's the second one here. And that's what you keep doing. Go back in here. And, oh, have I already caught it? Yes, I have. I want to do it this way, actually. Let's see what happens if I do it this way. No, that's not it. Okay, so you need to, you do need to go back on yourself. Go back where you've come out. So you literally got a loop happening there. So where I've just come out here, that is where I need to go in. There. And then go down. I think I'm making them a little bit too small. And then make sure you don't have that twisted and pull it like that. So in here, back into here, out at the other end, and make the stitch a little bit bigger. Otherwise you end up with a small stitch like I've just done one of them. There. So I think I'm doing this right. I think what I will do is I think I will put a little video together of all the different stitches because it has been quite a long tutorial. And if you give me a minute, I can put this together tonight and then share it with you before you get to this part of the Nutcracker. So hopefully maybe this will start you off okay. Now this was a really long one now. Okay, I'm gonna do a little tutorial with these stitches because I don't think I'm getting this completely right. And I'll check with Colette as well. But do watch the stitch tutorial that I'm putting together as an extra resource. And so what I will be doing is are the long stitches and also the herringbone stitches and the cross stitch. Now I'm probably just going to cut this because I'm going to redo this. But what I want to show you is I don't want you to be without the beard and the hair and how that is done. So for this, you will need to use your white leftover wool. And you split off a strand of about 4 centimeter width. So remember when you split off strands, I'm just going to split some off sideways. So it's 4 centimeters width. And then it needs to be about 18 to 20 centimeter long. Now this is way too long. So when you're teasing wool apart like that, you want to do it really gently. Hold on to it really gently because it will just want to split off by itself. And that is about the right amount now. So I've actually got 2 equal portions plus a bit extra here at the moment. And then you're going to tease off. Then you're going to tease off, I've lost my thread now, a thin length of the longer strand, thinner than a pencil width. It's probably too long. And you're going to roll this strand between your fingers to make it a little bit stick together neater. And then you're going to lay the long strand along the Nutcracker so that it reaches over his face, like that, over his face. And then you lay the thin strand across the middle so it is directly under his mouth on his chin. Now this is definitely too long, even though I've twisted it and all the rest of it. Where is he? There. So you want to lay this underneath his chin, not in his neck, underneath his chin, so slightly above his neck. And then you're going to felt the thin strand in at each end using your, well, I'm using my medium felting needle, but you can use your fine felting needle. So I'm going to felt this in here at each end of my long strand, and at the other side as well. There. So you felted that into the center, and then you're actually felting into that strand as well to stab the wool on underneath his chin. Yeah. And then you're going to fold this over. So you've attached the beard now, and you do need to felt a little bit into the top there because this might have happened to you that you caught a bit of his mouth. So you just want to make that separate again. There. Okay. Now you do want to ideally get the embroidery onto his chest first because you've got a really beautiful white beard there, and I mean you can just push it out of the way, but eventually you're going to cut that to shape so you can make that nice and short, or I mean you don't want to cover up the embroidery. Alternatively, you could just not have the embroidery here and give him a nice long beard. That's also possible. It's your Nutcracker, you do whatever suits you. So the beard then needs to be trimmed, and I would trim it so that it's like a V shape. So go in like that, and don't trim it yet as short as you think it will be, because once you've got it shorter, you will have to you can't undo it. It actually needs to be felted down a little bit because it's sticking out like crazy. Need some beard oil. So this is way too long still. So then keep trimming it until you are happy with this, with the size of the beard. And put layers in it. Just wanted to trim a beard. Okay, so trim the beard to your liking, especially if you're putting details onto his front. You want them to be visible. There we go. I'm not even going to ask why he's got a black mustache and a white beard. There. Get his uniform nice and crisp again. So you can tease it out a bit and give him that nice beard. And then for the hair, you're doing very similar, a very similar thing in that you are taking your wool strand and you are putting it down like you did with a beard, with an extra bit of strand going across the top of the head. So you do need to pull this out because you want this to go round to his sides. And you felt that on where you want the wool, where you want the hair to stop on the side of his head. Felt it down on each end. Make sure it's symmetrical. Just gonna check that. Yeah, it's about right. And then you're going to felt the wool down in the middle as well. So that secures his first layer of hair. And then you're going to go, you fold the ends of the hair. I'm gonna fold that. Fold it down and fold it down and felt into the top of the hair where it comes out underneath his hat, just so that it stays down. And now you're going to felt, sorry, you're not going to felt, you're actually going to roll this hair, the end of the hair in. So you've got a separation here. And you put another bit of wool, maybe have that ready before you roll it. Another strand of wool into this part here. Trap it on the sides. Okay. And then felt into it. So you've got like an extra little roll there of hair. I'm trying to do this as neat as possible, but I'm failing miserably. So you can neaten that roll up by just felting down a little bit more into him. But this is meant to be neat. So he's got there. He's got his main bit of hair here, and then he's got a little bit in his neck there as well. And I want to say that that is basically all of the Nutcracker bits done, with the exception of the embroidery, for which I'm going to do a separate tutorial, just showing you some of the embroidery stitches. And we would love to see your needle felted Nutcracker when you're done with him. We'd love to see him all nice and standing tall with all of his embroidered glory and his beard and his hair. And yeah, that would be really lovely. So yes, please share your Nutcracker, and watch out for the embroidery tutorial that's going to be separate. Thank you very much for following along with this whole project. It's been quite a long project, but I think he even without the embroidery detail, he looks amazing. I need to defluff him a bit because he's got lots of white fluffs on him, fluffy bits on him. But I think I've not done too bad making two. Mine is a tiny little bit shorter, even though I want to say he's got longer legs, but maybe he doesn't. I think he needs bigger boots, so I'm going to use the rest of the black to make his boots and give him even more of a sturdy ankle support here as well. Right, that's all from me. So thank you very much for watching, and let's see all your nutcrackers coming along. Thank you very much.